In traditional Gothic horror, ghosts are fueled by a singular burning passion. They seek vengeance, justice, or the completion of unfinished business. They are terrifying because they are relentless, but in Oscar Wilde's 1887 satirical masterpiece, The Canterville Ghost, we encounter a very different kind of supernatural being. Sir Simon de Canterville is not trapped because he wants revenge. He is trapped because he simply does not know how to stop. Sir Simon has become institutionalized by his own routine. He represents the profound curse of immortality without purpose. For 3 centuries, he has paced the exact same hallways, acting out historical expectations. Consider his legendary bloodstain on the library floor. It isn't a supernatural phenomenon. It is a tedious nightly chore. Having run out of actual blood centuries ago, he is forced to sneak into the Otis family's room and steal young Virginia's watercolors. If we look past the comedy of the American Otis family and their pragmatism, Wilde presents us with a striking aesthetic of quiet sadness. Sir Simon's existence is defined by crushing, exhausting boredom. He is an artist whose audience has completely dried up. When the Americans offer him Tammany Rising Sun lubricator to oil his noisy chains, they don't just insult him, they strip him of his labor. His terrifying performances, honed over hundreds of years, are met not with screams, but with pillows, pea shooters, and modern stain removers. He is caught in an endless loop of performance art that no longer works, rendering his internal life an endless, sleepless shift. The existential fatigue bridges directly into the cultural anxieties of Wilde's own time. The late 19th century was defined by the rapid, relentless acceleration of the Industrial Revolution. With the explosion of steam-powered trains and urban crowdness, Victorian society witnessed a parallel explosion in a new medical diagnosis, neurasthenia, or American nervousness, what we would call today clinical burnout and mental exhaustion. When Virginia finally weeps and prays for him, she isn't just saving his soul, she's granting him the ultimate elusive modern luxury, the permission to finally stop working, to step out of the loop, and to rest.
Hello? Haro? Hibachi Benihana Teriyaki.
Nagasaki, Okinawa, Hokkaido, Yokohama.
Karate Judo Sumo Samurai.
Nizam, Honda, Mitsubishi, Subaru.
What makes a truly terrifying performance? Is it the raw, unburdened malice, or is it something much harder to cultivate? Pure, uncompromising artistry. Consider Sir Simon de Canterville. For 300 years, he was the undisputed titan of the English haunting circuits. He didn't terrorize out of spite. He did it for l'art pour l'art, which translates to art for art's sakes. He was the ultimate aesthetic citizen, believing that a scare should be beautiful, stylized, and dramatically flawless. But every great artist eventually met their critics. Enter the Otis family, a pragmatic, ultra-capitalist Americans who committed to the ultimate sins against aestheticism. They judged Sir Simon's masterpiece not by their historical values, but by their utility. So, when Sir Simon debuted his highly anticipated piece, The Headless Earl, the execution was avant-garde, but the audience reception was disastrous. Instead of screaming, the artists offered him commercial engine oil to quiet his rusted chains. They looked at a multi-century symphony of Gothic dreads and saw a maintenance problem. This wasn't just a bad review, it was a soul-crushing insult. to the modern consumerism. In this struggle, Sir Simon becomes a literal phantom proxy for his creator, Oscar Wilde. Wilde spent his career championing style over substance, constantly warring a conservative Victorian society that valued spreadsheets over aesthetics and utility over beauty. When Sir Simon panics over his fading bloodstain, painstakingly rehearses his groan, we are watching the deep anxiety of the creative professional. He is misunderstood, this virtuoso, trapped in a loop, forced to perform Shakespearean terror for a crowd that only understands product demonstration and tripwires. Sir Simon's tragic end isn't that he was exorcised, but that he was forced to trade his art for quiet compliance, sneaking through his own canvas in velvet slippers just to avoid being noticed. A warning to creators everywhere: protect your medium before the critics makes ghosts out of you.
Is he really just a comedic relief, or is he just a man trapped in his self-guilt? 300 years of constant scare performance? It is without doubt Sir Simon will soon develop severe burnout, a depression despite being a ghost. But what exactly drove him to do so? If we look back to the late 1800s, the Victorian era was inherently filled with spiritualism. Not only that, the Victorian era has witnessed the birth of modern psychology in humankind, the most popular figure being known as Sigmund Freud, who maps the subconscious mind. We hear many horrors of what the Victorian era has done to its victims, the seances, the ghosts, the superstitions. With how desperate the era is, this tells me that Sir Simon is not just a ghost, a supernatural entity, but he is a signal of repressed trauma and historical guilt. Historically, Sir Simon was a brute, a terrifying patriarch, strictly abiding the code of honor, a murderer. He is the pure embodiment of dominance. So imagine, when the Otises riot, they treat him like dust, like he was a child, like he was nothing. All power he had before, it was gone. The Otises have stripped him completely naked of his masculine authority. He is no longer the embodiment of dominance and fear, now just a crumbling ego. Comes in pure, sweet, tender Virginia. He breaks down his persona of being a petrifying ghost, revealing only a vulnerable man regrets, waiting for his time in a cold dark room. By the end of the 19th century, the Victorian era faces a crisis of masculinity. The idea of the terrifying, dominant, gothic patriarch was dying. The economy was growing. There was no need for a man's independence or physical need. The large-scale corporate world was booming. His vulnerability in the end was just a reflection of the expectations put on them during the fall du siècle.
But perhaps the greatest conflict in the Canterville Ghost isn't between a family and a ghost. It's between two completely different ways of seeing the world. Take the bloodstain in the library. For Sir Simon, it isn't simply dried blood on the floor. It is a permanent reminder of his past, his crime, his guilt, and the centuries of history that define Canterville Chase. The stain is almost sacred. As long as it remains, so does the memory of the old world. Yet, the moment the Otis family arrives, they don't react with fear or curiosity. They ask one simple question.
Why hasn't anyone cleaned this yet?
Within minutes, they reach for Pinkerton's champion stain scorer and scrub it away as if it were an ordinary household mess. That moment is far more symbolic than it first appears. The bloodstain represents the weight of European history filled with violence, family legacies, and aristocratic secrets. The stain remover represents something completely different: modernity, science, consumerism, efficiency. Rather than preserving history, the authors believe every problem has a practical solution that can simply be bought off the shelf.
Good idea. Quite right.
Visually, this clash can be seen through color. Sir Simon belongs to a world of deep crimson, candlelight, dark shadows, and a heavy velvet curtains, colors that represents mystery, memory, and centuries of tradition. The Altuses, however, arrive surrounded by bright daylight, polished white furniture, spotless carpets, and gleaming cleaning products. The world is clean, organized, and rational. The color palette itself tells the story before a single word is spoken. But Oscar Wilde wasn't only making fun of ghosts, he was quietly commenting on the real world of the late 19th century. During this period, new sanitation movements and mass-produced cleaning products transformed the way people viewed dirt and disease. Cleanliness became associated with progress, science, and civilization. At the same time, America was emerging as a new industrial and economic powerhouse. While Britain's old aristocratic traditions were beginning to lose their influence, that is exactly what we see inside Canterville Chase. Sir Simon represents old Europe, a world built on history, nobility, superstition, and inherited prestige. The Otis family represents modern America, a society driven by practicality, technology, commerce, and innovation. So when they effortlessly erase the bloodstain, they aren't just cleaning a carpet, they are symbolically wiping away centuries of history. And Walt leaves us with one important question. When progress removes every stain from the past, does it also erase the stories that made us who we are?
I am Sir Simon de Canterville. This is my property!
Sir Simon is a tragically comic villain victim. So why he is the villain? First, he murdered his wife. He frightened innocent people. He enjoyed causing suffering. He also believed that fear made him powerful. So he appears to be a typical gothic villain. Why is he become the victim? It changed when the author's family arrives. Instead of reacting with fear, they remove his bloodstains using Pinkerton stain remover. They all his cheat, laugh at him, ignore him, and twins constantly prank him. Instead of becoming the hunter, he became the hunted. For example, he got hit by pea shooters, he got frightened by fake ghosts, he got soaked with water, he catches a cold, he became emotionally exhausted. So this reversal creates comedy. Why is this funny? Normally, ghosts scares humans, but while change it into humans scare the ghosts. So this reversal creates humor. What does Sir Simon symbolize? Sir Simon is not only a ghost, he symbolizes the declining of British
Sir Simon
aristocracy.
depends on old reputation, noble title, tradition, fear and respect, but the August family values science, practicality, efficiency, and modern thinking. These stories show the bridge between fiction and fact. For historical context, during the late Victorian period, Britain's aristocracy was losing money. Meanwhile, wealthy Americans became extremely rich through industry. Many Americans purchased large English estates. This created cultural tensions. This novel reflects this historical reality. Sir Simon represents Old Britain, aristocracy, tradition, and inherited status. Meanwhile, the Otis family represents modern America, capitalism, practicality, and competence. This is why the conflict is much bigger than a ghost story. In conclusion, Sir Simon begins the story as a terrifying gothic villain, but Wilde gradually transformed him into a sympathetic victim. Through comedy, Wilde criticized the decline of the British aristocracy and the rise of modern American values. Sir Simon's tragedy reminds us that traditions and past glory alone cannot survive in a changing world.